been there a
Yeah.
few times.
Yeah, it's fun. I've
Yeah.
always heard so much good about Alaska. I got to see it at some point for sure. So, um,
Oh, sure.
but
Yeah, come on up.
yeah,
Come.
absolutely. I absolutely need to. Well, I really love your story, your culinary story, and I want to get into it. And to begin that process, I want to know, I know we're getting tired of talking about COVID, but it was such a big deal to survive that pandemic. How did you get through that time period, and how has it changed the way that you do things now?
Well, I have to say, we're still not quite back to, I would say, everything that we were prior to that. Just what was it yesterday? Yesterday was International Chef's Day. And the conversation was, we used to have these competitions and everybody would get together and who did the best and the most unique and creative and all of those things and I was just coming up yesterday. I thought, we still haven't gotten back around to doing those things. So I mean, some things I guess maybe they just kind of fell off, or maybe there just isn't the staff anymore to do some of those things. But that was not a fun time for us. we are
Yeah.
so we are so far north and so removed. So the house is about, you know, 200 meters from the hospitality building, which I built out the property from scratch. It was nothing. There wasn't even a driveway when I bought this 10 acres originally. And then over the years, I built the house and the hospitality and the stables and everything else. But because it's on private property, I wasn't really a fan, early on before we kind of knew what was going on with that thing, COVID. I wasn't a fan of having people come over and pick
Yeah.
things up either. So we kind of just really shut down for those couple of years. And I mean, we did some things for some clients where we would make some, gift baskets for everybody in the company, and of course they were all working, construction company, you got somebody working at, one end of the building versus the other. However it is, it's not a problem. But for us, it was, and I wish now I had done more things like, learn that extra language or maybe, improved my music skills or something like that. But I think to start with, I mean, I think many of us were kind of, in that fear moment that, it's like, do you dare step out and what do you do? So,
Yeah.
so it wasn't a great time. And like I said, we didn't have people coming to pick things up. So what I was very adamant about doing at that time was trying to pursue any grants that, were being extended to small businesses. And we were successful with two of them. So that helped the cause. But I don't want to sign up for another COVID again,
Yeah.
ever, you know.
Yeah, neither do I. So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders at career day, and one of the curious kids says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
Well, actually, the day's a little convoluted. I get up and we have six dogs in the house. So I feed them and I feed everybody. Everybody eats very well around here. And then there's four horses out in the stables. The same horse that went with me to culinary school 26 years ago. She's still in the barn.
Wow.
And so, I mean, sometimes I'm cooking for everybody, if everybody's getting a special meal. But and then we've got a little rescue. So we've got some, in fact, we pull from Texas. So a lot of times we've got a rescue dog or two. So I come out and I sort out the rescue dogs and then come to the office and, maybe have a conversation with somebody like you, or I hop. So what you can't see right behind me here is I'm actually trying to deflect the glare from, this is a window that goes into the big kitchen.
Yeah.
So I go right into the kitchen, and then if staff is coming over and we're all in prep, but that's how the day starts.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're just, it could be I'm on the phone, I'm ordering food or making lists, or if I'm getting right into the kitchen, it could be anything from if like I'll use the holiday season as a great example because it's right around the corner, and that's what we're working on now. So early in the week, being today's Monday, I would probably put the list together. I might be checking in with a few clients and seeing how, who are we needing to tweak a menu? Are we waiting on a response? How many gluten-free do we have? That kind of a thing, and wrapping up a proposal of some sort. And then pulling the list together, and either one of us might be in town tomorrow, which is an hour's drive away from us, either collecting product or meeting a truck or having, products delivered. It could be any of the above.
Yeah.
And when the product comes in, we, get it all logged in, put away, and then we start obviously prepping on it. And early in the week, we'll start with all the sweets and the desserts, and then we work our way back at the end, through the menu.
Yeah.
Dressings, if we're making breads or rolls, we'll prep those along with all the sweets, that kind of thing. So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then anything like vegetables, those things get prepped in there as well. We leave the proteins till the very end of the week. So if there's something really, a little bit more delicate, delicate's the right word, things like shrimp,
Yeah.
lobster, tenderloin, those kinds of things. We leave that to the end of the week so that it's being prepared, fairly close there. And of course, if things like prime rib or, any of the meats are aging, we want those to hang out a little bit longer anyway. So
Yeah.
those get prepped towards the end of the week. And then, of course, in and amongst all of this, because we are 95% off premise, right now, we're actually 99% off premise. Then we're pulling together all of this equipment. And so it's a combination between psychologists, movers, food prep. It's a little bit of everything. Pulling things together for trailers, getting everything staged. Do we have enough? And it's everything. Do we have enough plates and napkins and knives and forks for that particular event at the weekend? Or do we have enough of the setup and the servingware? And in fact, again, behind me, I'll just show you. Because I'm a glass artist, I make a lot of
Oh,
our
wow.
pieces.
Yeah.
And
It's
this
wonderful.
one is one of three, and we put them together and we call them the Northern Lights. So we've
Oh,
got another one that's kind of a blue, green, turquoise, and another one that's kind of got a white, off white and gray color to it. So
wow.
we put them together, and we'll stage those and put them, you know, I really like to make sure that we are doing things eclectic.
Yeah.
I know so many people walk into a buffet and you see chafers, sort of everything's all lined up and it's all staged and it's all perfectly, and I hate that. I
Yeah.
hate that. I mean, if we have to use a chafer, which I hate, but if we have to, I mean, that thing is cockeyed.
Yeah.
There's lots of swag and swish around the table. Things are up and down. Again, the glass. We use a lot of our, because we're right here and we have so much property. If we need,
Yeah.
we cut our own birch boards. So if we're
Yeah.
doing things like charcuterie or vegetables or, um, fruits and things like that, we'll use the birch boards as well.
Yeah.
So I like to keep the presentation unique and fun. And
Sure.
then on the glass, if again, getting close to the holidays, we've got some of that delicate sort of glitter meets white light Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And if you run that underneath the like the blues and the whites and the irids and things like that, it all just reflects and sparkles.
Yeah.
So it really is pretty if you've got little desserts all under. In fact, I have one of the irids here. So imagine this one, we call this chopsticks, but imagine this one with white chopsticks.
Yeah.
And the lighting's not that good, but do you see how right there on the light there, you can kind of see
Yeah.
it's got some iridescence to it?
Uh-huh.
So if you light that from underneath, it just really pops and it shines very
That's
differently.
cool.
So yeah, that's what we do.
I
So,
love it.
but again, pulling it all together. So
Yeah.
it takes a week
Yeah.
usually for us to make sure everything's all together and,
Yeah.
you know,
So
yeah.
when you were in the third grade, what was your dream? Was it always going to be the culinary arts?
No, no, no. In fact, I was going to, originally I was going to be a vet. And then as I got older, I really took a fascination so I was privileged. I went to boarding school in Scotland, and when I came back to America, I was very bored. I got special permission because I was so advanced. I did flight school and paramedic school when I was 15.
Wow.
So I was and this was back before, there was so many rules,
Yeah.
like now you can't touch anybody or even ride along until you're 18, right?
Hmm.
Excuse me. So, yeah, so I remember being like 15 and going, my mother driving me to the ambulance station going, Mom, you have to drive faster. And she's like, we will get there when we get there, Kirsten. Just settle down. So,
Yeah.
and but no, I transitioned into medicine from 15 before I was even allowed to till I was about 28, 26, 26. And 26 was not such a great year because I had finally made up my mind. I had been in I had done the paramedic, I had moved into the hospital. I had been with the hospital for almost 6, 7 years at that point, and had said, okay, this is it. I'm not going to go be a lab tech or an ultrasound tech, and I don't want to be a nurse. I need to be the boss. I'm going to go to med school. And had moved at the time from Alaska down to Idaho, was there not even 90 days, and was rear-ended in a car accident.
Wow.
And they pushed my half ton with the camper shell on it, 2 seats. And of course, I'm only 5 feet tall. So I've got the bench seat all the way forward so I can reach the pedals. And she hit me so hard, she put my head through the rear window. So if that tells you anything, being that short and that far up, and my head bounced off the steering wheel because she pushed my truck into a Honda Accord that became the accordion when it hit the Jeep in front. And we all went to the hospital. But yours truly, my head took the brunt of everybody. She was young. She was, 20 something. And she said she was fiddling with her radio and looked up and saw my truck stop and then, couldn't even hit the brakes fast enough. So, but she was moving on a slow residential street. So who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
who knows
Yeah.
exactly what happened. So 3 years of rehab and being on the other side, which was terrible. Because that something's wrong, but you can't put your finger on what's wrong exactly.
Yeah.
It was a classic closed head injury, a classic what they call a TBI now, traumatic brain injury. Um, so I went through a second set of braces because my jaw was all out of alignment, and it was a vehicle obviously induced TMJ, speech pathology. There was cognitive and psychological stuff that I had to go through. I mean, it was kind of a mess.
Wow.
Not to mention that my head was really, I had headaches for months and I guess years. I guess in all, I mean, it could have been much worse. I probably probably should have been paralyzed the way my little head, flipped.
Yeah.
But obviously, somebody had a hand there at some point and stopped something from being worse. But after floundering for 3 years and thinking, okay, I was on a course and I was like, I was so dedicated, and I thought, okay, I was actually going to do pediatric oncology, and then realized that I couldn't put enough bits and pieces together, to like when you're sitting your MCATs, right, and you're trying, A, and you know how to get to C that equals D, but you can't remember B or any one of those combinations. I couldn't always put the words or think about it. So one day I coming home and I said, I stopped at the little farmer's market and I picked up strawberries, and I'm like, I should try to make strawberry jam. This looks like fun. You pick up a magazine, it's like they make it look so easy,
Yeah.
right? How hard can it be, right? And
Yeah.
that's how it started. Literally,
Wow.
I made some strawberry jam, and then I started playing with other little things in the kitchen. And I'd always liked being in the kitchen. I mean, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
I had never considered a career with it.
Yeah.
And then said, okay, it's time to, I guess, go to culinary school because we didn't have internet then like we do now.
Yeah.
And took the horse and the dog and went off to Vermont and went to culinary school back there, and then came back to Alaska. And
Wow.
that's how that happened.
Wow. Are you from Alaska originally?
So mom and dad had a place here, and my dad was stationed here for quite some time, but my mom is still, in fact, my mom's now back in Scotland.
Okay.
Their plan had been that when dad retired, they would move back to Scotland. And then unfortunately he passed away. And so now my mom's back there on her own. I should say she's not on her, I mean, she's got all her family there. We have no family here in the US at all.
Yeah.
I do have a brother who's kind of in and out. And he and I both are like, well, what's the next step here? I don't know what we're going to do, probably in the next 5 years, but yeah, it's a long way. So
Yeah.
if I trek, make the hop, it's Anchorage, Seattle, Reykjavik, Glasgow is usually my choice of flight. So,
Yeah.
and I try to do that a couple of times a year just because mom's getting older and everybody's we're all getting older,
Yeah.
obviously, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I'm trying to get back and forth quite a bit and we'll see. I mean, it might be nice to maybe come back here and, I know most people snowbird to places like Arizona from
Yeah.
Alaska
Yeah.
or Hawaii,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
might snowbird to Scotland, right?
Yeah. For sure.
So
For
right.
sure.
And
So
you don't have to shovel rain, Joe.
no, you don't. You do not. You do not at all. So I'm curious, in all of these things that you've described that you've had to overcome and evolve into new career path, who's been a hero for you?
Well, he's not here anymore, but my father helped me build my house.
Yeah.
And so when I decided to come back, what I had done was when I finished culinary school, I was going to actually go on a little tour around the world. I was going to go to Australia and spend some time in Europe. I was going to actually go on a culinary journey, if you will, and spend time working, 3 to 6 months in different places, just learning their particular culture and their foods and things like that. And that rug got pulled out from underneath me as well because I was returning back, and my mom said, we found a lump in your dad's neck, and it turned out to be a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And they're not exactly sure what happened, but he was only here a couple of more years, and then he passed away in '03. And he literally helped me. And during that time, I came back. I was going to work with a restaurant. Of course, the news kind of left us all in a bit of a tumultuous little tumble there. And that's when I said, okay, I think I need to buy some property and stay closer just because I didn't want to leave because I wasn't sure what was going on. But my gut, after being in medicine that long, I knew that things were probably not great. And just about the time we thought everything was going to be fine, that's of course when he died. So, you know, um, the best made plans, right?
Yeah.
But I bought the property. I had to sit on it for a year because the banker said to me, "Okay, well, I'm happy to give you a construction loan, but have you put in a well?" And I was like, "Well, no." And then, of course, $10,000 down a hole. I had to wait for a year because, and I was, when I think about it now, it was only $25 a foot then, but
Yeah.
I think we're up to $70 a foot now for well
Wow.
drilling.
Wow.
And that hole was 302 feet, to get water. It was only half a gallon a minute. So, um, so yeah, talk about being frustrated.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got the construction loan the next year, and literally I designed the house. I took it to an architect, so you could get it off the paper napkin and
Yeah.
give it to, so you could give it to the builders and go like, okay, this is what I want to do, because they don't like to look at napkins, right?
Yeah. Sure.
And so the only thing he had to redo was redesign my stairs. I couldn't quite make the stairs work, the way I wanted to. And
Yeah.
but the house is still there. And I mean, if someone had said to me, 25 years ago, hey, in 25 years you're going to have a place that looks like this, I would have like laughed them off, the face of the earth and go like, yeah, that's funny. So
Wow.
yeah, so
That's
yeah, it's
amazing.
amazing. And then so from there, I had a little cottage. I moved it from my mom and dad's over. We added on to that another little cottage, put up the stables. There's now 5 stalls for the mares. Um, gosh, another little shed in the woods. There's a sauna out here. There's a little chicken coop. There's this big building that's 6,000 square feet.
Wow.
And I built it with in mind that I would have the kitchen and the garage in front so that you could load out for, make it easy loading out for, pull food from here and you can come in one side and take things to the dish center and then, take things out hot from the other side. I had it's all there. But then of course I realized, and of course it's cheaper to go up than it is to go out.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, if we're going to do this, let's put another story on the top. So now there's two full-sized, short-term vacation rentals. Each have two king-size beds and a full living room. I mean, it's 1,250 square feet each side. So it's like a small flat on
Yeah.
top of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Um, but when I built it, we stood here and looked in the space, and I just looked at it and I said, this isn't big enough. I'm out of room. And my business partner's standing there and he's looking at me. He's like, it's not even finished. How can you say that? And I'm like, because I just know I don't have enough room. I know I'm going to be out of space. He's like, rubbish, like just wait till this is done. And sure enough, there is now another 18 by 58 on this other side of the building because I needed that additional square space. So
Yeah. Wow.
square footage. So yeah, it's just kind of crazy, but yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
And building in Alaska it's got its own unique challenges because everything is shipped in, just like our food. So
Yeah.
I didn't pick the easiest place in the world to do this, but
Right.
I've certainly done it. And now, I mean, if I can do it here, anybody can do it anywhere for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, of all of these things that you've done and accomplished up to this point and overcome in your life, what are you the proudest of?
I think at this point, just my tenacity and my resilience to being able to overcome these things. Because I have to tell you, there were some days I thought to myself, that's it, I'm done. I just want to walk away. And there's been more than one or two days like that. I think just being able to get through it because it's really has been a challenge. Just getting to this point.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, all of your employees, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think don't ask me to write the headstone, but I think that most people think that I am creative and very innovative, and I always like to bring new things to the table. So I'm always the one that's willing to try things. And obviously, if it doesn't work, okay, we can go back to the drawing board, but I'm not too easily dissuaded. I'm always trying to think, well, okay, if there's some other way or some other angle, or how can we approach it from this? I guess I'm fairly deep about thinking about how to make it work. If it doesn't work right the first time or the second time, well, how many different ways can we approach it? But I think everybody, they've all, not a lot have come back from Scotland because everybody's gotten older, but um, they've seen the pictures, they've seen what I've built out. I think they're they're super proud of the fact I've accomplished what I have. So yeah, I think it's yeah, I guess I'm just the unique and creative one.
Yeah.
And I have long-term clients who keep asking us to come back because they love what we do and how we present. So that's a testament to I guess, our a little bit of everything, the creativity, the longevity, the integrity of it all. It's just, yeah, it's been fabulous.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
I think if I, well, I've got a few. So if I'm doing a big presentation, I love to do our tenderloin on the sous vide or on the salt. I should say we sous vide it first, and then we present it on the salt blocks, the Himalayan salt blocks. So imagine, if you will, we preheat squares of pink salt, get them pretty roasting, 400 or 500 degrees. We'll put them over the burners and then I'll have them sous vide on the side. We can just pull them out, literally sear them, have them ready to go, and serve them up with a lovely demi on the side. Appetizer style,
Yeah.
of course, or hors d'oeuvre style. This is usually, again, holiday party things that we're doing. Not that don't do it for weddings and other, social affairs because, the food doesn't care, right? It
Right.
doesn't care what party it's going to. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But But yeah, I love to, there's just nothing better than having a lovely piece of tenderloin where you can just cut it with a fork and just enjoy it, right? You
Yeah,
can mingle and talk to people and just enjoy your filet.
yeah,
Um, I love to cook that. I love to desserts. Probably my all-time favorite is a beautiful creme brulee, and I love to just hand torch that sugar and just
yes,
make it exactly perfect,
yeah,
and keep that custard so chilled so that you've got the heat of the sugar and then the chill of the custard, so that texture, when you're eating it is just
yes.
it's phenomenal.
Wow.
Which is why I don't order it when I go to a restaurant because I
Yeah,
because there's a checklist, it's
yeah,
like, well, did you do this? And you do that. So you don't do it unless you
yeah,
like, maybe you have an inside scoop, like, okay, they can do it right here. So, you just
totally. Yeah, that's why.
um and then of course wintertime. I have to say I love it when they came out with these newer um I pressure cookers,
Mhm.
that you just pop on the lid, the Melty pots or the
Yeah,
Insta pots or whatever they are. It's kind of nice to just be able to just take a bunch of everything, throw it in there, walk away, and come back to it done. And of course, you do it one day and it's good, but it's always best the next day, right?
yeah,
So if you're making, even just a chicken and vegetable or a chicken and barley or beef and barley soup or something like that, I love the convenience of that. So yeah,
yeah,
it's just much easier. It's gotten easier over the years.
absolutely. It's gotten a lot
Yeah.
easier. So, if anyone wants to reach out, learn more about what you're doing, hire you, any of the good business, where can they go?
Well, there's two different things. Obviously, if they want to come to, if they need catering, or they're coming up to Alaska hosting a wedding, that kind of a thing. It- you know, the the Cater Alaska, cateralaska.com is the catering side of everything. The other thing that we have recently launched, and that's just happened over this last year or so, is the Culinary Illuminary. So culinaryilluminary.com. Now that is where we have, I've had lots of people come to us and say, look, I want to start a food truck, or I want to open a little bakery, or I want to do something, not maybe full restaurant, or sometimes they do, they want full restaurant type of a thing, and they're not sure where to start. They have the aptitude and they know they've got the cooking skills down, but they don't have everything else that they need to know. So, licensing and, procuring kitchens or procuring a food truck, all of those things. We have the Culinary Illuminary takes people through and helps them get started if they would like to have their own food, foodiepreneur business. So and there's different levels to that because some people say, I need help and I just need help with the first getting off the ground a little bit. And then others say, I need help. Plus, I need about 6 months to learn how to scale the business. And of course, I love catering for that reason because, why, in my opinion, I don't want the restaurant because I don't want that day-to-day grind. But if you put out for 300 on a Saturday,
Yeah,
you know, that's much easier than I feel than it is having a restaurant. But no matter whatever they would like to do. So that's how we've worked with people to get them off the ground and running their own food business, which has worked out really, really fantastic. And some of them have even said, look, I want to I've been invited to put something on a golf course or country, some kind of a country club of some sort, but I need a kitchen and I need help doing this endeavor. And we've even managed to secure a partnership with a company out of Oregon where they will actually build out the kitchens and we can literally have the kitchens delivered right to them and then they put them together and it's a kitchen to go. So it
wow.
works out really well for people
Yeah,
who want to take it to that extreme.
wonderful. This has been so fascinating. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck with everything as we move forward.
Thank you so much, Joe. It was lovely to chat with you today and send me some of your lovely warm Kansas weather.
Absolutely, we will. It's happening right now, so we'll bottle it up and send it up that way.
Perfect.
And then
Perfect.
and
All
then
right.
if
Super.
and then if you could just shoot one Northern Lights, I want to see that once. I would love it.